Hey guys, today we'll talk about one of the altcoins from the top 10, which in my opinion has the biggest potential among the others for the short term or maybe mid-term growth. And before that, just a couple words about Bitcoin, what is happening. Basically, we are still in the sideways price action, and you see it's pretty much a classical one because we had this move to the upwards when we sort of cut some of the short positions. Now we cut some long positions and still climbing along this support line. And the longer it happens, the less probable I would see the continuation of this fall, because if it happened like within a couple of days after that, then the momentum and the inertia will be still there and we'll be able to go there. But still, even that move didn't initiate the continuation of the fall, and we basically shoot up pretty much after that to the previous position. So it's clear liquidation of the long positions. So in principle, I would think that it's more likely to go up than down right now, although of course it's really speculative at the moment. So we are technically in the local the short-term upwards trend, and we are about to continue that. So in principle, I think that all the area which we are looking at now, and this is like 3,300 or 3,150 on Coinbase and 4,200 from the top area. So this is just some huge accumulation period. And actually here as well at this area, huge players are collecting some of their positions. Of course, they are playing in the small swings as well, but generally they try to make a huge bet on one of the direction of the move of the price. And as well as here, we were seeing that the same happened, but it wasn't clear which way they accumulate their positions. Probably they do accumulate it right now as well, but while here they did it to the downside, I wouldn't consider this to be accumulating to the downside as well, because then we would have to go much lower and for a very long, in my personal opinion. So I think that it's more likely to go up, so probably will not see this $1,150 anymore. And saying that, it's just like a very few days remain to reaching the limit of this sideways movement. Usually we have like little more than a week or something like that, and now we have like 4 days already, so maybe like 3-4 days more, and then within this period of time it should be according to the history should be some kind of move within this range. So we'll see. Now let's look at the other coins. As I said, you can take any of those coins except one. You will see pretty much similar picture. Let's say you would like to look at Ether. So Ether is pretty much the same as Bitcoin. If you, for example, add the Bitcoin chart on the top of Ether, you would see that they are pretty identical. So like let's do it like this. So you see this price are moving in the same manner. So Ether is just the same like another Bitcoin, but less volume and less liquidity and so on. So this is not that interesting. So I want to see some other coin. And also, if you look at the price, so somewhere from December 15th or something like that, you would see that this price was at like 85 or something, and now we are 140. So it was quite of the rise, so something like 65% or something like that. We actually even rose to even right here, we rose to 100% from 85, almost 100%. And this is a huge growth, guys. So you can look at other coins like EOS, for example, right? EOS is doing great as well. So you see it moves up quite a lot. So it's already made like 100% even at this point. So we would expect it to go higher, especially if the price of Bitcoin will go up. But if something will happen and some capital will go to other coins, then EOS would have a chance to go at least to this level. So it can actually fall. It's easier to drop for EOS than to grow in case of the market will be in a depressing state. And you can look at any other coin in the first 10. So even XRP, which is sort of different than the others, it still has its low even before that. So not in December, but before that. So in principle, XRP already grew as well from something like 26 cent to 31 cent. So in principle, it continues to its way to test this previous level. So it might very well do that. So you see, again, this is the situation which you wouldn't expect to be positive for the investment in terms of the buying coin and expecting it to grow. So what is the coin which in my opinion is interesting here? And this is Stellar. It is completely different than the other huge cap coins. As the other coins, it did touch its low at what it was, almost 10 cents in December last year, and then it had this correction, but then it didn't follow Bitcoin. After this drop, it actually fell even more. Now it corrected this drop to the upside, but now it is actually lower than the position of the price in December, when the Bitcoin was very low. So technically, since Stellar doesn't have, at least as far as I know, doesn't have any like fundamental issues which you would expect to be the reason for the price to go even lower, then it seemed to be that it has its potential to go upwards comparing to the other altcoins. Of course, it's a risky deal. So even now, I would think that if you'd like to consider buying it here, I would probably put a very tight stop. But even more interesting, it would be then it will go somewhere here, and then we can again buy here with a very tight stop. And the last point is the previous low, which was something like at this area, and again very tight stop order in order to prevent yourself from the huge losses if the price will continue dropping. In fact, we're still in this sort of channel, decreasing channel or wedge, but I think it's more like a channel. So if it will continue to fall, then it will be not a surprise, but again, somewhere at this channel it should stop and turn to the upside. And in this way, the potential to the growth is very huge, at least like 100%, I think, easily, depending on the scale. All the other altcoins look very different to Stellar. I would like just to mention Litecoin, which in my opinion is sort of in a second place comparing to the other coins, excluding Stellar, in terms of like the potential and the attractiveness for this. You see, the thing is that the Litecoin, of course, it made a huge rise as well as the other altcoins, but Stellar doesn't show us any kind of strong corrections. So it makes the perfect channel here. It makes very nice channel, well, relatively nice channel here. It doesn't show, well, here it was sort of correction, but still it doesn't fall after the rise that much. It's also a nice investment as well as Stellar, but because of a completely different reason. Here we have the rising trend, and it probably you would expect that the rising trend will continue, but with Stellar it is downtrend, and you would expect it to be reversed at some point. So here somewhere the trend will be reversed to the downside, and you should be careful, and again, like, use your stops and so on. But Stellar, you make a counter trade. You go against the trend, and this is usually more risky, but have a higher reward. So it's up to you what to do with these two guys, and of course it's my personal opinion, not financial advice. But anyway, I think it's very interesting to look at those two, especially at Stellar, and see how they will perform, how the things will go. Okay, that is it for today. Thank you for watching, thank you for being with me, and hope to see you tomorrow in the next update. Goodbye.